Welcome to the Monday Morning Wake Up Call with your host, Kerry Ramage, managing broker at Remax Elite, and Heather Holiday, your social marketing nut, talking about hottest real estate topics with a little weekly activity and motivation for the week.
Oh, I'm not quite ready. Okay, now I am.
Well, good morning and happy Monday. And it's been 2 weeks.
It has been 2 weeks. It has. I can't believe it. And I miss it when we don't do it. You know,
It feels weird on a Monday to not come and get everything together. And I'm like, could we have done it? Or I don't know.
That's funny because on Labor Day I was thinking that, like, well, we totally could have done it, but it's also nice to just have a 3-day weekend where I have this wacky thing, and I've had it for probably almost my whole life, because I can remember even when I was college, like Monday afternoon and Monday night, I'm not a big fan of doing stuff. I want to just get myself mentally prepared for the week. So it's nice to have that 3-day weekend like we did for Labor Day, and I didn't have to get myself mentally prepared for the week. So
I don't know, because when we have the 3-day weeks, it totally, completely throws me off of the entire week.
I know.
Like even my HelloFresh comes a day later. It's like totally messed up.
My Green Chef comes 2 days later. So it normally comes on Monday and then it comes on Wednesday, which is totally throws me off. So
then I'm like, oh crap, I have to get something out of the freezer and meal plan. What? I'm like, nope, hot dog night. Keep it nice and easy, because it's like, what?
Exactly.
And I think I worked anyway, so it didn't really matter. I just didn't have to put on makeup or anything.
So there you go. Yeah, exactly. You didn't have to get ready for the day. I don't even remember what I did Labor Day. I think I laid around and watched TV, which was nice to do, because I don't do it often. Anyway, here we are, Monday, September 13th, after the 20th anniversary of September 11th. So I watched a lot of that footage on Saturday, and
it felt different this year.
Yeah.
It felt different this year.
Yeah. So, and I saw so many posts, and it really kind of hit home for me. Back then in 2001, the way the country came together, we put aside, I don't even know if it was put aside our differences. I just, this feeling of us and them, or you and me, or, instead of all of us, has been around for a few years now. And it was around back in, the 90s and whatever. But September 11th, brought us all together, and we all at that time felt like we had a common bond. And I just hope that people saw the footage on Saturday, or watching some of the events, and it made them feel, this is still the greatest country in the world. And I hope it made people feel that us coming together for a commonality.
It's I saw, and Elizabeth, I think Baker had done something. They must, like, we have a rock at UT, right? And everybody does something, but there must be some sort of a boat that you can do the same thing, is what I'm thinking is, and we should all live our life like it's September 12th, 2001.
Yeah.
And a lot of that is because it's all about USA, and we're all Americans no matter what.
Yep.
And that's so true. And I wish we could, it stinks that something so tragic would happen to make everyone feel that way. But
and that to remind you that we need this as a reminder. It stinks that
it has to come to that to remind us, like, it doesn't matter where you're at across the board, anything, what your beliefs, whatever, we're all in this together, and we're all, proud to be Americans or whatever. I mean, it is true. I wish we could all, and that's, because it is so nice like that. And that was one thing, like living in Gainesville and having UF, and now living in Tennessee, UT, and it doesn't matter if we're good or not. Like there's just that common bond across, and that's something that I fell in love with this area for is, and it is a lot like the, September 12th, and just we all, love the same thing or come together, or I don't know. I wish we could get back to that place for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. So today we're talking about presenting your value. And surely, within your career, your value may be different. Maybe different if you're a new agent, maybe different if you're an experienced agent, or it may be the same. We talk a lot about young agents, and I was in a meeting the other day, and we were talking about, when we're using the word young, we're actually not meaning age, we're meaning time in the career, and so because you can be a young agent and you could be 60, and you could be a young agent and you can be 22. What we are seeing more and more and more and more of, I feel like, is younger aged agents starting this career younger, as opposed to years and years and years ago, it was a second career for
right.
most.
It was like you were kind of retired from maybe teaching or whatever you're doing, and this is just kind of filling in because you're not ready for that, or you're just looking for a change.
Right.
I've seen a lot of that coming from different industries, that maybe, like think of like massage therapists. When COVID hit, well, their entire career now kind of went by the side. So I'm seeing a lot of those kind of agents coming in to the real estate space. And I think there'll be more as
time goes on. Yeah, for sure. And we're seeing, a lot of times now we're seeing agents say, my age, my son is 20. He has no interest in getting his real estate license, but I have friends whose children are the same age, and they are getting their real estate license and going into the family business, so to speak. Mm-hmm. So it's interesting. It's interesting how this career has evolved some. But so when you're a new agent, this is here at Remax Elite, the majority of the agents are not new. We're all seasoned. Even when we started here, we were seasoned. But at times you're newer. I was a seasoned agent, but I had been selling in another state. So by the time I got here and was with Remax, I was kind of a new agent because I had my sphere of influence from growing up here, but I hadn't really built it. So what are you, as a new agent, ultimately, this is the thing. You can't be picky. I am happy I'm at a point in my career where I can be picky, but as a new agent, can't be picky. You have seasoned agents in your office that are handing out leads because they can't deal with them or they don't have time with them. You take those. You pay that referral fee. You take that. You take every opportunity, whether it's an investor, a seller, or a buyer, wherever you're getting leads from, take them.
Right, because every single transaction is really a learning lesson. You're going to learn. Real estate is not black and white like the book. Real estate is gray, and every transaction is really a learning opportunity. I would always suggest having some sort of a mentor or a seasoned agent that can help guide you through that. And that's just something we don't really have, which is why we don't bring in the brand new. Because when we would have new agents meet, it's like, I really feel, having a mentor, paying the referral fee, but just having someone that can really guide you through, or can, you can shadow. I think that's really the best way to have success. So when a newer agent, I don't want to just, here's your desk, here's your phone, good luck.
Yeah, good luck.
That's how a lot of it. That's how it can be.
Yeah, that's how it can be. And I remember when I was new, I remember going on my first listing appointment, and he asked me the question, how many deals have you closed? And we're always taught to say, gosh, what is the exact words? How long have you been in the business? Oh, it feels like forever, or whatever. I just was point blank with him, and I said, you'll be my first listing. And I said, and I'll tell you this, I will be focused pretty much only on you, because that's all I have to do right now. So you are going to get my 100% attention. It's not like hiring a seasoned agent who who has 20 other listings, or in this market, 5 other listings, or whatever. So I said, you're going to get 100% of my attention. So at that point in my career, that was my value. My value was, I can focus on you, and then I went on
Because
to
I still have to put food on the table. So
exactly,
I'm pretty
exactly.
driven to get this close because I don't
Yes,
get paid unless it
yeah,
does.
exactly. And he ended up hiring me, which was awesome. And I ended up putting the listing under contract within a week, which was awesome. But I also went on to say, and I have a broker who is supportive, and at that time was shadowing a couple of agents in my office because they were gracious enough to let me, follow along with them, and I let them know that I had experienced agents helping me along, and that was my value. So when you're new, the other things that you can do is practice, constantly practice your presentation, get your presentation down so you know what you're saying and what you're going to do. And it's one of those things. When I first started doing that, I thought, oh gosh, this feels so uncomfortable and weird. And then I realized, oh, I don't have to do it word for word the way I'm being taught. I get to put my own personal, and once I got more comfortable, I could put my own
But that
personality
comes
to it.
with
But
prep, and that was probably one of the biggest thing. As I had a mentor, and we would just meet and constantly role play as far as paraphrasing the real estate contract. Even though I had been in real estate for 10 years, I knew the contract because I'm having to review them and all that for the broker. But trying to explain the real estate contract in a term that they would understand versus how I knew, like what
right,
to put in what blank, but trying to paraphrase it in a way that someone else would easily understand. That was, something really big. And that's something I think everybody should. And the more you do it, the easier it's going to get to flow, because I feel so many times people are so focused on reading the contract, which you're not really listening to the consumer, right? Because
right.
you're so focused on reading this contract. But the more you practice any of your scripts and the listing presentation, I'll never forget the time I had somebody do a presentation for me, and they were so focused on basically doing this presentation that they did not have any connection with me whatsoever, because they were just so focused on this presentation that they just they weren't comfortable with it or whatever, but they were just so focused on that. And that's when I pretty much threw my presentation out. Like, I never want to be that person
Right.
that doesn't. So it's like I kind of threw that out. Here, it's a leave behind, but I'm just going to go over the important stuff. And there
It's
it was.
funny. I don't. Early on in my career, I did the same thing, and I had the book, and I was like, page 2,
Right.
page 3. Now I don't even. It's a leave behind. I don't even. I'm at the point where I can do it. I'm comfortable with it. But as a new agent, it's really practicing, and learning, constantly learning, and maybe that's part of what value you're bringing is you're paying attention daily to what's going out there in the marketplace. I had a meeting with some agents on Friday, and we were talking about, here in Brevard County, we use what's called an as-is contract with the right to inspect, right to cancel. And what's funny is I had shared an article from Florida Realtors as well about this. That contract gives you 2 options when the buyer does their inspection: right to inspect, right to cancel. So option 1 is cancel. Option 2 is continue. There is no option for repairs. That doesn't mean the buyer can't ask for them, but the seller actually does not even have to respond to that request. And I think it's important that, as an agent, when you're prepping your buyer or your seller at the beginning of working with them, you're letting them know that's an option. Yes, Mr. Buyer, when we do the home inspection, if you find some things you don't like, we can request, but the seller may not even reply to us. There's no obligation for them to reply. And as long as you've set those expectations for your buyer or your seller, let the seller know, yes, Mr. Seller, we're doing an as-is contract, but the buyer most likely will ask you for some repairs, and then you have a decision to make. But part of your value is learning these nuances that take a long time to get to in this industry. But if, as a new person, if you're putting your hands on every lead you can get, You are going to learn with every single transaction because everyone is different.
Mm-hmm.
Thankfully, many are the same, but everyone is different.
Right.
You
No, absolutely. I mean, I just feel real estate is just gray because every transaction is just going to be unique in its own little way.
Yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure. So,
And use your office stats if you need to. I mean, usually we have kind of presentations. I know we have one that's kind of generic and
yep,
fluffy, but we really want the agents to bring in, to kind of customize that, adding in what are you doing that's a little different? Are you using professional photos? Are you using a Matterport? Are you using video? Or, what are your reviews? Make sure that you have those reviews in there, references, whatever it may be to kind of have you stand out versus the fluff piece that can be
right.
a leave behind. It's just stats, numbers, and stuff like that. But know what your value is, what sets you aside apart from any other agent that's out there.
Yeah, and I say this all the time, and you just said, use your company stats if you need to. I'm a stats person, but it doesn't always have to be your stats. You can even just use the Brevard County stats. Did you know this is the average days on market for the county? This is how much it was a year ago. Know those things because that at least that makes you sound educated, like you know what's going on. Um, so
Even the neighborhood, just to
yeah,
know what's going on in the neighborhood. I mean, I always would tell a newer agent, picking their kind of farm areas is go preview those listings. Know everything about that subdivision if you're going to be marketing to them so that when you do go on a presentation, you know your stuff. You know that, down the, 123 Main Street down the street just sold in 3 days, but it had this, and upgrades or I feel that gives you that knowledge, which also is that value to know what's going on.
what's going on. Well, whenever I do a listing presentation, I pull everything that has sold, canceled, withdrawn, expired, active, under contract in that neighborhood, because inevitably you're going to be sitting at that seller's table and the seller's going to go, Susie down the street told me that Jimmy's house sold for $200,000. And you're thinking, I didn't see anything that sold above 150. Hang on. And you've got the stats right there. And you can say, I don't remember seeing anything like that. Let me just double check, because keeping it all in your brain is a little too much, but at least have the information with you, so that they're not hitting you with something. Here. Oh, is this Jimmy's house? Oh, yes. Look, it does say Jimmy Smith. Look, Jimmy Smith's house sold for 150. Susie has her information wrong. That.
How that, yeah. I mean, and that happens.
Exactly. And then, as an experienced agent, you've established yourself within your market area, within your farm, within your where you like to work. And so if you get leads or referrals or whatever that you're not interested in working, you just don't have the time to do, you can refer those out to the younger agents, meaning newer agents who are looking for some business. One of the benefits of being in this industry for so long, if you really have worked on your sphere, you have the opportunity to turn business down if you need to.
Or refer it so that you still,
That's what I mean by turn it down. I mean, turn it down and then refer it to a younger agent. And then what, your value when you're meeting with customers then is your longevity. But it's not always that. It's not always, oh, I've been in the business 21 years. You can be in the business 21 years, do one transaction a year, and never continue to educate yourself.
Right.
So make sure you're educating yourself. If this is your career of choice, you're making it a career and you are doing transactions, and then know your stats.
And that's part of your value as well, is if you work with the military or luxury and you have these designations on your business card or something like that, these little acronyms mean absolutely nothing. But in your presentation, having what designations, that's continuing education. It's, staying on, getting these designations to learn and know that, that way that consumer knows that you are dedicated to this, or, seniors, or whatever it is, whatever your expertise is, and that you're continuing to educate yourself through getting, taking these actual courses that are specific to, what you're
yeah, for sure. And I get a lot of business through my sphere of influence. I recently just closed a house of my parents' very good friends. The husband recently passed away, and I've known these people since I was probably 18 years old. But of course, at that point, I'm 18. Their kids were older, living in different states. I never met their children. My parents knew their children, and they knew me. And when they passed away, the daughter called me up and said, "Hey, my dad wanted you to list the house, so I'm calling you to list the house." Now, keep in mind, the probate attorney was trying to get her to hire someone else to do it, and he said, "Well, that's She said to him, "This is who I'm hiring. This is what my dad wanted." She was hiring me on name alone, on family alone. But don't forget, it's important to still tell them who you are and about you. I remember in one of my phone calls, I said, I know you're hiring me, but I still think it's important that I tell you about me and my career so you understand that I'm not just, uh, doing this once a year. I'm doing this all the time, and these are my stats, and yeah, these are my designations, which may or may not mean anything to you. But what it does mean is that I am continuing to educate myself and continuing to network with my peers, and we're sharing stories about what's working, what's not working, what can we do better.
And that's a huge value point. And I think there's a lot of missed opportunities on agents because I feel that they don't necessarily do that or add that to their presentation or their leave behind or have it on their website or part of their bio or whatever the case may be. There's so many opportunities there that agents just aren't using that little checklist because they do have value. They have that passion. They have the why. Why are you in this business? Whether you're new, seasoned, whatever the case may be. I mean, you have that value and that why. Why are you still doing this? What are you passionate about?
And right. And if you don't know what your why is, I would suggest you take this next week to think about what your why is. But if you're listening and you want to, jump in on the chat, let us know why are you in real estate? Why did you start? We'd love to hear it.
No, absolutely. Absolutely.
I mean, for you, your why clearly is different than my why. And you started off in one avenue of this business and then found your why and made it into your career. How
right.
You thought
yeah.
And wanted it to be.
I mean, I honestly thought real estate was super boring. from going to my grandmother's open houses, riding my bike when they were close to my house. Cause she was, I mean, Grandma, like we have all these cookies and like 2 people came in here, but
but it's so think about what your why is and then think about what sets you apart. And there's always something. I mean, we all kind of learn the same things. Like I said, how long have you been in business? Oh, it feels like forever. We all have learned that. But put your spin on it. What makes you special? What makes you different? What makes you the reason why somebody should be using you?
And I feel when you know the why and your value and your purpose, that it really will, when you meet with people will feel that and feel your enthusiasm, your excitement, that passion that you have to help them. That's going to feel so much different than somebody who's maybe just kind of going through that book that they may have, giving stats and not really building that rapport or feeling that passion and that energy. I think there's a huge difference there. And I think a lot of that is the role playing, finding different scripts that you just kind of memorize and then you turn it to your own, and it's really second nature, which gives you that opportunity to build for that rapport. Because I think so many miss out on that.
It's funny. So we had the annual meeting, the Space Coast Association of Realtors annual meeting, where the president gives their, State of the Union address, and those who are running to be on the board of directors each get to speak. So this year I'm rerunning for my second 3-year term, and afterwards we went out to lunch with some of my friends who were also running, and we ran into some gentlemen who had been playing golf, and one of them actually was an agent who we didn't know, but then we all switched cards and blah 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 blah. one of the gals I was with, Tracy's like, vote for us, board of directors, da 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 da. And one of the men there was actually Mr. Wassey, who owns Wassey Meats and the Big Green Egg. I was like, wow, you guys were like the biggest seller of the Big Green Egg on the East Coast of the United States. It was kind of exciting to me. And he said to me, what does being on the board of directors do for you? And I was like, oh, you know what? I don't know that anybody's actually asked me that in that way. Or what does it do for your business? That's what he said. And I said, well, it doesn't necessarily bring me more business. I said, but it's me giving back to my realtor community, me sharing things that I've learned, and me hoping to better our environment here on the Space Coast, and I said, and at the same time, it's great for networking. It's great for meeting agents from other places around the state and around the country. And so being involved within your association is another thing that gives you value, because it does allow you to know what's going on. I said to him, it gives me a firsthand knowledge of what's going on in our association that is going to affect the 96 agents at Remax Elite.
Right. No, absolutely. Absolutely. And I think you had kind of put that in the email that you had sent out to us, and because it does it. We just get to know what's going on and what not to do, or, hey, this situation happened. And
well, that way I know, like, if somebody's doing something they shouldn't be doing, or somebody's doing something they should be doing, I know firsthand what it is, and I can share that, and I don't just share it with our agents, I share it with many others. I mean, I made a joke because one of the gals who's also running, I mean, she called me at 7 a.m. on a Saturday morning once to ask me a question about a rule, and I was there to answer the phone anyway. But what out there is helping you to become more successful in your career, and success isn't always about the dollars and cents. Success can just be about smooth, streamlined transactions and making things
working smarter, not harder. I mean, just having that knowledge to know the yeses and nos, or do's and don'ts, or anything like that. And just knowing your value. I mean, that's why I do all these different, conferences and seminars, because I get to network with the best of the best, learn from the best of the best, and really just kind of, bring that back to the agents, bring it back from myself, as we're helping the agents.
Exactly. Because there's always, at minimum, at something you attend, that one aha moment, but hopefully more than the one, and sometimes it's not even anything new. Sometimes it's just a reminder of what you should be doing that you've gotten away from.
Just something that, okay, yeah, we need to add this to that business plan, because, it wasn't one of the X amount of things that I had done prior, or you're in a different place in your business. Because I know I can do the same courses over and over and over, and I'll be at a different place and really take away so many different nuggets.
Yeah.
Just because I'm in a different place, and now I can do this, this, and this, which was way over my head, or, I wasn't there yet prior to. So it's even
that's a good one, because sometimes you're just not there yet. So if you take your notes, you remember it, you refer back to it, because now I'm in that place. Now I have this many.
Well, it's like the video boot camp. I think I've done 4 times, but every single time I'm taking away something completely different.
Yeah.
And, as far as what to do. So, I mean, even if you're taking these same classes, they're always taking away different nuggets from any of these things.
And, and I love, sometimes I hear agents say, oh, I don't need to attend that, I already know everything. Chances are, my friend, you don't know everything. I promise you there's something that you will learn.
Well, that's the great thing about real estate, is it's always changing. It's not the same as it was 2 years ago, let alone, 10 years ago. I mean, it's always changing. And that's why I used to think real estate was so boring until I actually got into it, which just, just needing a job coming back from college. And, my best friend was buying a house, and the broker's daughter was going off to college, and I wanted a job. So I'm like, yeah, whatever, I'll just I'll just go there until I figure something else out. And that's when like even in college, I needed a cheat sheet to check my email. I didn't know anything. I had to call my sister who was still in high school. How do I do Word? Like, what the heck is this? What is my document? I mean, completely self-taught on everything, just teaching myself, using the typewriter. Gosh,
Right.
that may age me a little bit.
Well, no, so this is funny, just real quick. Where is it? Oh, no. Oh, I don't know what I did with it. I had a note for years that was on my bulletin board. I must have put, oh, it's sitting over there. That Ian, when he was like, maybe he was 8 or 9, had to come to work with me when I was working at the attorney's office. And there was a typewriter, and he's like, what's this? And so I showed him, I said, it's before computers. And he had been using a computer since he was 2. So he typed a little note on that typewriter for me. I still have it.
Oh,
So,
that's funny. No,
yeah.
It's true though. Yeah. I mean, it's constantly evolving. It's one of the great things about real estate and why I quickly fell in love and learning the marketing side of it, and just really found myself and
Right.
my whys and my passion and all of that. And it's just completely evolved from that. My husband Lee always makes fun of me because, I mean, he met me when I wouldn't use the computer and I had to figure out how to get onto AOL and that stupid whatever, it would say goodbye before I would actually download emails.
Oh my gosh. I have to say, right. One of our agents, Melissa, went on a listing appointment last week, and she was pretty sure she got it. The next day, the seller calls her up and he goes, I just have to tell you, I cheated on you a little bit because I did interview another person, but we knew the minute we met you, it was you. But I had already made the appointment and I felt like I needed to keep it. But when I realized that the agent had an AOL email address, I knew that agent wasn't for me. We joke about that in real estate all the time. Yeah. So. Anyway.
Yeah, don't say you're a technically, you're a good technology or you do this,
and you have an AOL address.
You have an AOL email address. And most of these franchises have a different email and they probably don't even work with AOL. Probably wouldn't even forward over just because AOL is so finicky. But yeah, don't say you're a techie agent and my email is AOL. Yeah. It may be even Hotmail at this point. Hotmail may be just as bad as.
I know.
You can get a free forward. Just go to GoDaddy, get your domain, and then my name at website or info or team, whatever. And it just forwards right over to your email, your AOL. Stop doing it. Yeah.
So for this week's weekly action plan, if you have one of those antiquated email addresses, look at that. Can you see the comment? I met an agent who didn't even have a cell phone. Wow.
What?
So here's your weekly action plan. If you don't have a cell phone, and I will admit, I do still have a landline at home. I'm getting ready to get rid of it now. And that's mainly so that when I call the house, my kids pick up the damn phone. But now that they're old enough now that it doesn't matter. So, so get yourself a cell phone, get yourself an email address that is not AOL or Hotmail, and we're getting ready to ramp up for the last quarter of the year. So review your business plan. If there's stuff you haven't done, now is the time to look at your business plan. What do you need to do for this last quarter to get you to hit your goals? And make one change in your business to adapt to what's happening today in the marketplace. So if you're that person with no cell phone, that one change is get a cell phone because that's what's happening.
Hopefully they didn't have a beeper.
Right? Remember when you would send a text to a beeper, but you had to know like the special code so that
I remember doing hello.
Yeah.
It's like 7-3. I can't even remember.
110 or something. Yeah.
So that was crazy. I remember never, when the agents did start getting cell phones, you were charged like by minute. So we still would have to send their beeper a message So, we could never give the cell phone numbers out.
Right.
We were basically the buffer to whether or not they were gonna. I mean, that's just crazy. That seems like forever ago. Your weekly motivation success is nothing more than a few disciplines practiced every day. And that's Jim Rohn. I thought that was good because it is. Everything's about habit. So you have to do the same things. It's repetitive. And I think, what is it, 90 days? Oh,
there, Barbara just, hello was 07734.
Yes. Yeah, because the 4 was the H. So you had to go back to it. Yes. Thank you, Barbara. Why does our brain remember this stuff?
Oh my gosh. Well, when I first started in this business, I mean, we were hand delivering offers. Now people are signing, in space, I mean, so.
Yeah. No, I mean, everything's evolved and it's really, I mean, if you are one of those with just a landline or a fax machine, I mean, if this is part of your business, you have to constantly be evolving or you end up like the Blockbusters.
Yeah.
I mean, and then that's just with any business, but definitely as fast as things are going, you just have to evolve. You have to constantly be learning and educating because things are changing at such a fast pace and all that.
Exactly. So.
But that's it. And next week, I will actually be with you.
I know. How are we going to do this?
I figured I'd just be in the training room and pray that
everything.
I don't know. We'll figure it out because I have never used my laptop's thing. And since I'm flying, I can't, like when I went on vacation before, I was able to bring my whole whatever thing I have with my speaker thingy and all that. And I won't have that. So I guess we'll just see how that works.
I'm sure it'll be fine.
Well, we'll figure it out, right? But that'll work. So until next week, everyone wake up, kick ass, and repeat, and go make that change for this. Get ready for that last quarter. Set up your goals. All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.